We'll start with example 5. A store sells wheels for rollerblades in packs of 4 and wheels for inline skates in packs of 8. And if we look at this, there's actually probably a typo here that it should be 8I plus 4R. But we'll just ignore that typo and pretend it doesn't exist and continue with it as you would normally. It would probably make sense that you use R for rollerblade and I for inline skate, just because those are the letters that would make sense for it. And the question says you need to create a situation that explains it. So for those of you that like English class was not, this gives you, you get to write the question. And so I created a question here. At Wally's Wheel World, Wally sells wheel packs for inline skates, 8 wheels per pack, and rollerblades, 4 wheels per pack. On the display wall, affectionately called Wally's Wall, there are 80 packs and 440 wheels. How many of each pack are there? So I create a story that creates the equation. If there's 80 packs, then the 2 packs together have to add up to 80. If there are 440 wheels, well, the one pack has 8 wheels, the other pack has 4 wheels, that would have to add up to 440. And technically, if we wanted to correct this, all we'd have to do is put arrows here and somehow make R the inline skates and I the roller skates, but that's really confusing that the letters are mixed up. So we'll pretend that everything was fine. And now we can solve it. So I decided to use substitution because it was really easy to get the R by itself and substitute that in. And then you get your solution for both I and for R. Okay. The creating of the question, you create your own words, right? You can have a little bit of fun with it, or you can make it boring. It's up to you. You'll get full marks if it's a boring question, or as long as the question works. You'll get full marks if it's boring or if you have fun with it. And then afterwards, solving this, you have your options of substitution, graphing, or the elimination technique. And notice how I continue to number my equations. If I got a variable by itself in equation 2, I had to substitute that into the other equation. And we get our answers from there. And the last question. Bicycle has 2 wheels and a tricycle has 3 wheels. Create a situation using these vehicles that can be modeled by the system below. So really, boring one would be that bicycles plus tricycles equals 40, and the total number of wheels is 100. That's the boring part of the equation. Now we be a little bit creative. And I used Isabella this question. There are 40 bicycles and tricycles in Isabella's garage. In total, there are 100 wheels. How many bicycles and tricycles did Isabella steal? So we're having a little bike theft ring here. And then we could solve it. So this time I used elimination. I took equation 2, I wrote them out, I showed that I multiplied it by -2 so that my numbers in front of B were the same, but one was positive, one was negative. This is nice because then you can add your equations together, and it adds really nice because then t is already by itself, and you get t is equal to 20. Solving for b, you get b is equal to 20 as well, so now you can write a statement that she stole 20 bicycles and 20. For your quiz, there are going to be a couple of elimination questions, and then I'm going to ask you about the dependent, inconsistent, and independent questions. So I'm going to have questions that say, how many solutions does this system of equations have? And sometimes there'll be no solutions. And sometimes there's infinite solutions. So you're going to have to study that section of our notes that we did just the other day on how to tell if something has an infinite amount of solutions. How can you tell if something has no solutions? And then there's going to be a word problem on there as well. It's a little bit shorter, it's just one page both sides. But that'll be your quiz on Monday. We'll get all of our quizzes back on Tuesday. And then you have your test on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, on Thursday or Friday, you'll get your test back. And you'll be able to study for your exam, because those are our last 2 days of classes. And then your exam is January 30th. It happens during period 3. It doesn't happen during our period. So you have to make sure that you're aware when your exams are, because they may not happen during your class. It's 1 hour long, and that happens on January 30th. So we are almost very close to being done. As far as our notes, this officially ends all of our notes, which is kind of exciting.